If you've had a go at Suminagashi, which is Japanese water marbling, and your results have been a bit disappointing, a bit grey, and you wanted something a little bolder, or even worse, you've tried a paper and the ink just won't stick and it falls straight off, and you really want it to stick, wouldn't it be good if there was a magic answer? You could do something to the paper to make it behave itself. Well, the answer might be alum. I am going to experiment today, apply it to papers, see how it behaves, and show you how it can give you really bold and graphic results. My name's Liz Chadderton. I'm a watercolour artist based in Berkshire, but I love to play with Suminagashi. When I try to do Suminagashi on this red paper, it's just a red craft paper, the ink just literally slipped off. It seemed to catch in these corners, but all the ink that was here just fell away. So I thought it was a perfect paper to test out the process of using alum as a mordant. So a mordant is usually something that helps dyes stick to a fabric, and we can apply it onto paper and it gives a bit of bite, a bit of tooth that the ink can grip to. I'm going to also test it on just good old plain photocopier paper and see whether it gives a darker print. This is alum. You can get it from Asian supermarkets sometimes because it's used in pickles, but it is basically potassium aluminium sulfate. I have dissolved 2 teaspoons in 100 millilitres of water. So 2 teaspoons to basically a cup of warm water. And you want it warm water so it all dissolves, no grit left at the bottom. If you don't use it all, you can put it in a sealed container and it'll last for weeks. I have put an A in the corner because you coat one side and then you need to use that side to pick up the ink. When it's dry, you might not be able to see it and you'll think, oh, did I do that side, that side? So just make it easy for yourself. Use a big brush or a sponge applicator and apply it. Make sure that the whole piece of paper is covered and then put it to dry. It needs to dry for, I'm going to say, 2-3 hours. Now, obviously that really rather depends on how humid, cold, wet, hot your environment is, but I'm going to do this and then actually let them dry overnight. I have to say I have never used a mordant before. I always pick my papers that they are absorbent and that they give me the effect I'm after. Now this card, say the ink seemed to just slip right off. So I'm going to go slightly backwards and forwards because I really want to push it into the fibres. If you were doing Suminagashi onto fabric, you absolutely would need to use alum. If you're going to mordant your papers, it seems to me to make sense to do a huge batch at the same time and then keep them in a clean bag or envelope once they're dry, and then we're done. See you tomorrow. The alum papers have dried overnight, and the first thing you'll notice, of course, is this dusky sort of finish to the red, and I'm really glad I chose that red. That's a bonus because of course you just don't notice it on the white. The only way to test whether we get more sticking than we did here is of course to do a little Suminagashi. So I have my water here, I have my ink, my soapy water on my 2 brushes. If you've never seen Suminagashi, you're in for a treat because it is mesmerizing. But I would suggest you watch my introductory video because that will give you all sorts of ideas. Let's give it a little waft. I love seeing how everything goes all nice and jaggedy. I did write A for alum on there, but I didn't need to because it's blooming obvious. I'm just trying to get it so it will lie flat on the water because it's quite stiff. think I'm going to have to press it down anyway. And I think I will give gentle taps on the back. Again, A for alum. This is that photocopier paper. And we can lie that down. Oh, this is the moment of truth. Ah, interesting. Okay, because it was stiff, I've got these hesitation marks, but I appear to actually have a print on there. Ah, might just rinse it through the water, see whether that all washes off. No, it doesn't. Oh my goodness, now that is dramatic. To actually see what a dramatic difference that alum makes is really good. I'll put that to dry. Oh, sorry, poor piece of paper that I've totally been ignoring. This is our photocopier paper. And that's a very nice dark print. Just going to wash off some of that excess ink. That is untreated printer paper. That is the treated. So we have got it to go a lot noticeably darker. I thought it might be a bit better, but that is considerably better. I do just have to say hello to my lovely brush rests. They're actually chopstick rests in the shape of otters. I haven't cleaned the water surface because this is all my experiment. You can see it's a bit wibbly wobbly because I am excited. And the water picks up, you know, if you're not doing things as carefully as normal, the water so picks up your mood, which is of course brilliant. Well, Suminagashi is never repeatable, and I love how it picks up the vibes of everything around, whether it's a hot day, a cold day, there's a breeze, it's still, you're excited, so your hand movements might not be as gentle as they could be. I was going to say should, there's no should here. Maybe other things are going on, and the Suminagashi kind of hears you and responds. So that is my alum side. So I can get it to lie flat. Now, I guess I could iron this to get it to be flat, or put it in under a heavy weight when I was drying it. Once it gets a bit damp, of course, it relaxes. Okay, let's take this one out. Again, there's quite a lot of loose ink on there, so I'll just put that in to wash off. But that, again, is a really nice dark print. Again, not a brilliant print because of the stiffness of that paper. Can you see? Look, there's a hesitation line in there. But so much better than that. Just going to follow the circles to make a sort of, I like to think of it as a sort of caterpillar design. They're just slightly offset. Oh, that's quite psychedelic. Love it. If you haven't seen my test when I tested all different papers, you might be interested in seeing that. So generally, we're looking for a really absorbent paper. We're looking for something that is archival, so it won't deteriorate over time. And we're looking for the qualities of the paper. If you're going to do collage with it, it's got to be thin. If you want to frame it, maybe you want it thicker. So it's worth just thinking what paper might work. But this aluming, let's just wipe that off. Oh, that's a better print, isn't it? There's still some hesitation marks, but I could trim those off, and look at that funky print there. Right, I've ironed that paper so it's a bit flatter. And the other thing, I suddenly thought, why don't I just do a side-by-side of printer paper, untreated and treated printer paper. Our water is getting a bit murky, but as this is only an experiment, it really doesn't matter. And the treated paper. So let's take that off. That's what it looks like. A rinse. And then there, that's what that looks like. So I think you can see immediately how much darker this one is. And this one, I'm just going to see if I can get a really good print with the red, because I've actually ironed it. Then I'll let them dry and we'll come back and look at them. I am looking at them drying out of the corner of my eye. And interestingly, I assumed that sort of haze that we got on the red paper that we could see really clearly, I assumed that would go after dipping in water and it wouldn't be there anymore. But it appears to be. Right, here's my slightly flatter one. Just hoping that will have less hesitation. Oh, oh, that's funny. That's all curling up. Well, that is a better print. So I just needed to flatten those papers out. So that's definitely a better print. Right, let me clear up. Everything's dry and let's look at the final results. Remember, that was the sort of colour of the paper before we coated it, and then it took on this slightly dusky haze. This is what it did when I didn't do any treatment. Literally, the ink slipped off and didn't absorb in. And then this was when I'd allumed the paper, we got a proper print. The only thing I am surprised about is how it's affected the background colour. We've still got that haze even though I've rinsed it. Now, potentially, if I used a slightly weaker solution, maybe it wouldn't do that. I guess that's got to be more experimentation. Of course, on white paper, doesn't show up in the same way. So that was just ordinary photocopier paper. Might have been disappointed because this is quite grey. It's still a lovely print, but it's quite grey. But on the allumed paper, of course, you've got that real bold black. There's nothing wrong with subtlety, and having a greyed out pattern might be perfect if you're going to do something else on top. But sometimes you really want your blacks to be black, and you definitely want it to stick on the paper. So alum is your new best friend.